All right, so let's look at logistic function, I guess. Logistic regression. Oh God. I have a hypothesis that you should upgrade the C2 upgrade very slowly rather than all at the same time. So especially in the beginning of your playthrough, I think you could ignore the C1 upgrade because C1 essentially controls how fast the Q value will grow, but C2 actually controls the upper limit. But the trick is if you want to ignore C1, because it costs money, I think it's possible to grow C2 manually in such a way that you could afford to not touch C1 upgrade for a while. So that's what we're going to check out if that's true. So I'm going to export my current progress. And so now we have a save state. And what I will try now is I'll take all the C2 upgrade at the same time. So I'm going to hit buy all, boom. And so now, as you could see, my Q is not moving, right? And the reason for that is this is a differential equation for a logistic function. And what happened is if you look at the rate, it's something like 1 over C2 when Q is 1. And when Q is 1 and your C2 is all the way 2 to the 11th power, that's going to be a very small number. And that's going to cause your Q to get stuck. It's actually two term. One is kind of like a very small number, which is 1 over 2 to the 11th power right now. So it's like 1 over 4,000. And the other one is 1. But it doesn't matter because the small side is so small, my Q is barely moving at all. And that's the issue if you increase C2 too much in the beginning. It's kind of hard to go through the math right now, but it's kind of, if you rearrange the equation, you want to write it as C1 multiplied by Q over C2 multiplied by 1 minus Q over C2. So if you rearrange the equation like that, you'll realize that you want to kind of make sure Q is not too small. Otherwise, the term Q over C2 is going to be puny. Right now, Q over C2 is 1.07 over 2 to the 11th power. And that's, you're multiplying everything by that. That's why it's going very slow. Now, of course, you could make the process a bit easier by increasing C1, by buying C1. But, if we want to not buy C1 or make it grow faster, we don't have to do that. So now let's go back into, we can just import from clipboard again to go back into where we were before. Okay, so now instead of buying all the C2, buying all 11 at the same time, I'm going to buy it slowly one at a time. So I'm going to buy the first one, and you see how fast it's increasing. And so now the upper value is going to be 2, so the Q is going to get stuck at 2. Right, so now it's not going. Once it's reached 2, I'll buy one more, and now the upper value is going to be 4. So if you do the math, you'll realize that this derivative will become 0 when the one of the term when Q matches C2. So 4 in fact is the upper value. So now when it reaches 4 by 1 again, and then I wait until it roughly reaches 8. Now wait and I wait. And so you see the time is going to get longer and longer each time, but hopefully not too long. And see now it about reaches 8. I'm going to buy the next upgrade, which will allow it to reach 16. And once it reaches 16, I'm going to buy the next one, which will allow it to reach 32. And now all of these can be made more efficient if you buy the C upgrade, right? So if I go to just the max cost and just buy the C upgrade, this rate is going to dramatically increase. But it increases at a linear rate, so it's the same. So you should, in fact, still hit the C2 upgrade if you're doing manually one at a time. So I'm going to hit this and wait until it goes to 64. It's gonna be there faster now, right? Because we upgraded the C1 upgrade is in fact 51 times faster than before. But I should still manually increase the C2 a bit at a time. And now I'm shooting for 2 to the 7th power. And now it hits it, we do go to 2 to the 8th power. Or now it's to the 7th. Doesn't matter, either the number, like 265 or 256, right? And then I'm going for 512. And I'm just being very patient at wait, right? Because if I hit the C2 by too quickly, it's going to drive the Q over C2 term too small, and the rate of change will be very bad for my Q. And so I'm waiting for it to at least hit about 500, right? Well, now it's slowed down, right? Because it's, you know, it's logistic. And then by the next upgrade, to keep it on the sharp side of the derivative, right? Wait until it becomes kind of big. I'm sure we can figure out the math. What's the optimal time to click the button? Like, that's just do some derivative. Should be able to figure that out. You basically want the rate of increase of this one to match the next one, I think, something like that. But bottom line is, you know, buy your C2 a bit at a time. You know, don't buy all of it at the same time. That should probably solve most of the problem. Like, if you ever see your Q just like getting stuck and just not moving, or moving very slowly, either is it reached the upper limit of your C2. So like if your C2 is 2 to the 11th, this number will be 2 to the 11th. When the Q stop moving, it's going to be 2048. And so it's going to get stuck there. So, but as long as I can keep buying it, it'll keep going up. But don't buy all of it at the same time when your Q is too small. That'll cause it to get stuck, as we've shown before. Okay, that's it.